I want to talk about something tonight that I personally have been suffering from lately, and I know many of you may suffer from as well. It's called Shul Attention Deficit Disorder. This is when you're sitting in shul and you're rather bored and you start dozing and you really have nothing to do. And I know what you're thinking. This guy's an apikuris. He's telling us shul sucks. Shul doesn't suck, man. Shul is awesome, man. When shul moves swiftly and smoothly. When you're stuck in the Misha Berops for like 2 hours, or you're sitting there and they're doing that whole English prayer for Israel thing, shul gets kind of boring. You're sitting there and you're like, dude, what is this? Like, some shuls, like their goal, and this is modern Orthodox in general, they have to end after 12. You ever notice that? It's not enough to say Adon Olam. They gotta sing Atikva, they gotta do Achenu, they gotta have some, like, woman president get up and do a speech. Up, it's 12 o'clock, we can retain our status in the OU, Young Israel, faction, and it's all good. We're not gonna revert to Mahmi or some sort of, like, lesser realm of modern Orthodoxy. We're gonna be in the mainstream. So, you're sitting there in shul, and, if you're like me, you go to the bulletin board. I am one of those guys. I read the bulletin board probably 10 times on a Shabbos day. Always. The bulletin board, and if they update it, it's like the greatest thing. It's like, oh, now I have an excuse to go there. It's like, oh, there's a new news article from Viewpoint magazine or something, or one of these, like, they're fixing up a cemetery in Poland articles, or like the NCSY update. That's my favorite. They always have these NCSY things in the bulletin boards. Obviously in the shuls I'm going to, maybe not in your shul. In your shul they might have, gemachs for like bris Mila stuff, or like you can rent a sandik or something like that. I don't know, but in my shul, well, now that I'm in Muncie, notice the freaking ceiling. It's kind of distracting, actually. But now that I'm in Muncie, I've been having more because there's no bulletin board. What do you do when there's no bulletin board? And the other problem is the shuls are so, like, litfish and, like, you got to sit there and shut up or you're out, that there's no, like, place to walk around and back. You have the pacers, the guys who just walk back and forth. They're walking back and forth and back of the shul. And then you guys have the guys up at the bima who also like to kind of, like, greet everyone. They're like the bima greeter guys, and you can tell they're bored, And in Muncie, they also don't have English Siddurim, so I can't even do the whole Pirkei Avos thing. That's what I used to do, man. When I'm really bored, I just flip to the back and learn some Pirkei Avos. It's all good. Pirkei Avos rocks, man. Always entertaining. Always entertaining. And then another thing they don't have in Muncie, I don't know, this wasn't meant to be like a Muncie complaint, but the other problem with Muncie is they don't have English Chumashim. Where's my English Chumashim? There's no stone Chumash. They have these Chumashim that are like stone lookalikes. They're art scroll, they're blue, they have that same gold lettering, but there's no English. The English is gone. It's like they bothers me, man. I'm irate from it, man. And then you pick up a Chumash and you think it's English and it's only Rashi. I personally like Tanakh better. I know Tanakh is Chumash, whatever. I like the Navi part, man. I like Navi, because in yeshiva they don't learn Navi. So I never got my fair dose of, like, the Jewish Braveheart. That's what I think Navi is. Navi's like death, sex, war, action, cool, like, fighting scenes and buildings coming down and betrayal and scandal, It's kind of like the Jewish community nowadays. Anyway, you have the bulletin board people. Then you have people like me who hoard those, like, emails. Those emails from random places in, like, Lakewood that you can donate. You spend $36 and you're a sponsor, and it has on the little bottom, it's like, sponsored this week's by Batsheva Trudinsky in honor of her chassan's whatever, $36 here, you can sponsor those. They end up in front of me. There's like a stack of them. There's from, like, Purim 2004 in there, but I'm good. I got those emails. They always have interesting stuff in the back, like, what the Kiddush of that week is going to be, or, like, who's sponsoring the Shal Shudas, which kind of sucks because you're reading an old one. You don't realize it's from, like, 2006 or something, and you're like, wow, hot Kiddush, Gala Kiddush this week, and you're like all pumped up, you're sitting in shul, suddenly your, like, spirits are rejuvenated, and then it comes in, you're like, where the heck is the freaking Kiddush, man? This is not a Kiddush, this is like pretzel sticks and, like, sliced up peppers with the stale, like, that Vidalia onion dressing they get at BJ's or something, I don't want this. And then you realize, 2006, man, freaking rip-off, man. But, I was thinking of other things you could do during shul. There's the obvious, you can daven, you can follow along, which is so hard for me. Even during Megillah, it's like you lose your place, you're gone. At least in normal shul, you know where you are. Megillah, it's like the best feeling, though. That's bordering on Megillah attention deficit disorder, which is worse than normal Shul Attention Deficit Disorder because you have to sit there and you can't talk. And when you want to talk, I'm not advocating talking in Shul here, but when you want to talk during Megillah, it's pumped into your head that if you speak and miss a word, even though I've never left Megillah feeling competent that I've heard every word, but when you do try and speak, when you need to nudge someone, you speak in constipated Davanese. There's normal Davanese, which is like, no. Then there's constipated, it's like, you know? Because can't miss any words. But even this week, Parshas Para, I was like, I totally missed some words. There were like 50 words in the whole thing, and I'm thinking back, I'm like trying to listen to every word, but I know I missed some. It's just, I don't know. You know, just like I know I must have missed some of the tequila. The only thing I ever am confident that I get the full thing is shofar blowing. Shofar blowing is I'm confident. I know it's hard for you to imagine, but I could shut up for a couple hours. It's very hard. It drives me nuts, but I'm able to do it. I'm not one of those shul tookers either. I'm not one of these guys that sits in shul and hocks away and does a whole like hand up on the bench, leg cross, and like, hey buddy, what's up, man? You gonna pass that snuff over here? I'm not one of those guys. But I do get bored. I go outside and I always like, you know, you can make faces at the little kids. You ever do that? You're like, you know, doing a whole face thing with the little kids and like messing with them. And, you know, if you don't have a good mechitza for looking over it, it can be rough. But if you have like good earlobes, you know, you ever like sitting there in shul and you're like looking at the guy in front of you, he's got like cool earlobes. He's got these like hangy, flabby things with like little like hairs coming out, and there's like icicles of like wax. Those guys are kind of cool, you know. You can like look in there. I mean, I know it's kind of nasty and all, but like you can look inside. You're like, damn, what's going on in that cavern, dude? You know, what you got growing in there, you know? And you have those guys with like pimples on their backs and stuff. I'm not gonna yell about psoriasis because I represent the psoriasis crowd right here. So you rest assured, you have maybe a minor sort of semi-celebrity with psoriasis. What's up, dog? That's all I have for you now.